Hello, all, and welcome to the Onyx Path Twitch channel. I am the Awkward GM Corbin, and I am going over one of my favorite Trinity Continuum game lines right now. I might have to adjust my mic a little bit, it's a little far away. Apologies. As it says on the tin, we are covering Trinity Continuum Anima. Anima was one of the first Trinity Continuum games I played, that and Core, during Onyx PathCon of 2023. And I kind of fell in love with it and its crazy dystopian setting. Dystopian, it's got a lot of things going for it, and we'll be going over that today. It is currently on sale at Drive-Thru RPG. Maybe I should throw a link in the thing to just be like, hey, it's right there if you want it. Oh, Drive-Thru RPG does not like me today. Basic rundown is that this setting takes place between Aberrant, which is the superhero setting, and Aeon, which is between the sci-fi setting, more like Mass Effect, if you are familiar with that setting, or in some cases people have been known to play it kind of like Star Trek. I really like it because it delves into what's known as a genre of lit RPG. Lit RPG is this genre of basically people who play video games either get stuck in the video game or there's some narrative around the video game itself. I would throw in some names of some, but like Ready Player One is a big one that people know about. Awaken Online is another one that's pretty popular in that genre. Why can I not find the link to this? Affiliate link inbound. I've been trying to hound Travis to send me this for a long time. I'm like, as soon as it gets here, send it to me because I am waiting with bated breath for this one. Now, let's get started here. So, front cover, awesome stuff here. Just some awesome images. Then we get into this part. It is not standalone. You do need the Trinity Continuum core rulebook for you to actually be able to play. Developers, content lead, these people all made it possible for this project to come to fruition. Please thank them all, and thank you Void Nothing for the cheers. Glad to see a lot of people interested in Trinity Continuum Anima at the moment. It was awesome. This is awesome. Okay, so let's continue down, just double checking that I didn't screw up the ratio, but here we go. Basic rundown, table of contents. You're going to have your basic inspirational media. You've got the lexicon with all the different terms. There is secretly a fantasy RPG in this game. Trinity Continuum is a cyberpunk setting, and part of one of the things about this cyberpunk setting is that there is a fantasy MMO in it. So there are fantasy character creation rules, and when I do my part 2 of this, we will be making those fantasy characters. We will probably be making what is known as, I believe, the Anima. So first up, you got your inspirations, you got your glossary, and then you have all the history of the Earth, basically around the state of, or the time period of the 2080s. This is going to basically run down all the different stuff. This is a setting where the Federated States of America exists. This is the fascist version of the United States, who, in the most sense of the world, you are playing cyberpunks, so you are rebelling against the system for the most part. And I'll go into that in detail as we get further down along this list, this stuff. Eventually, we're going to go into the deeper parts of the book. I'm just giving a brief overview. There is a lot of information about Cascade, which is this city of the future. This is a little bit of a different beginner's guide because I know a little bit more about this setting than I normally would. I normally would know nothing about this setting, but I've followed it since it was announced a little bit, so I'm a little ahead of the curve. Also, these lights change on my headset if I can. There we go. So the $10 well spent, I say. Um, so we got all that stuff about Cascade is going to be over there. We're going to be going in there. Oh no, I Chandra Magic. I love let's Chandra Magic, let's be honest. You buy Trinity Continuum Anima to play the lit RPG part and ignore the real world part of the setting. You're That's part of it. Some people might want to do that. Some people might just want to play the MMO part and not do anything else, but honestly, you can definitely incorporate both aspects pretty well. A lot of people, the game I played in, we incorporated that some of the files we needed were hidden inside the game because the game is run by a conglomeration or a group of evil people. In any case, you have character creation, which is your normal character creation stuff, and then you have to apply the template, which this, I believe you are playing as a talent, so you don't really have to worry about that as much. There are three main allegiances, which are going to be the Aeon Covenant, which is the essentially this version of the Aeon Society, this evolution of it. Aeon Society started off as a group of people who were in adventure, the Aeon Society for Gentlemen. They dropped the for gentlemen part, and it became this adventuring group type of private organization led by Maxwell Mercer, who I did an entire lore video on Trinity Continuum. You can watch that if you need to. I will try and see if I can post a link to that in the future. You can find it on the Awkward GM YouTube channel. Anyway, the Aeon Covenant basically is when the Aeon Society dealt with all the aberrants. Now the Covenants exists. Covenants are a weird thing that it doesn't. I forget. We'll go into it in more detail probably. The Ghost Wolves are a society, but they're basically like anonymous. They're hacker group. Oh, Chandra Magic did confirm to me that character creation specifically mentions using the talent template in the core rulebook, and it includes a special gift that one of the allegiances allows a member to have. Awesome. The Ghost Wolves are essentially the hacker group Anonymous. You are rebel hackers. Go around, hack the planet types. Optech Cyber Products are the people who created Terror Surge, I believe. The other ones, one IX Security, Project Proteus, and Transcendent Alliance. I don't know anything about them. Chapter 5, we talk about glass and chrome. Glass is the term for the VR glasses that are used, or the technology that's used to go into the virtual world. Cyberware is your chrome. That's the cyberpunk thing equivalent of like if you ever read William Gibson, he talks about cyberware as chrome. Titles like Burning Chrome and stuff like that. He really loved chrome. It was like, oh yeah, Molly Millions, her eyes were replaced with chrome lenses or something. That's pretty cool. More stuff about that. Then we've got Synesthesia, where we talk about Terra Surge, the hit new game that's reaching the nation, or in this case, probably reaching the Cascade. And Chandra Magic is putting in a little bit more information about glasses and neural interface Wi-Fi type thing that is basically grown in your brain by nano machines. It's really intense. It is really intense. And there's this whole thing about if you have broken glass and all that other stuff. It gets in pretty detailed. I've read the manuscript for this a little bit, so I'm excited. So we've got the three types of synesthesia: the narrators, the griefers, and the streamers. I played a streamer in our game. We have synesthesia. I'm saying synesthesia, and I mean synesthesia. What's synesthesia? Oh, you just finished reading the book last night, Chandra Magic. Ah, you're one ahead of me. I've only read parts of the book. I'm a speed reader. Synesthesia. Synesthesia is when your brain routes sensory information through multiple unrelated senses, causing you to experience more than one sense simultaneously. Oh, okay. That's a little bit of a crazy moment there. Anyway, you have the different classes um, within Anima. You have the muses, the boundless, the fearless, the mages, and the channelers, and then you have the different races, which I don't know much about the races. Yeah, tasting the color red and smelling rock and roll are synesthesia type things. Chandra Magic, thank you for being in the chat. It's always lovely to have you here. Waves. So we've got the various different races or species, maybe. I'm not sure what they'll call it in here. Synestia's geography, Synestian geography has probably a map. And then we've got here the anima creation rules. So you're going to have your own sheet for it, your skills, your culture paths, your leveling, all these aspects. If I remember correctly, it's pretty easy to set up a character, an anima for story path. I'm not like set to remove it from the game and put it into like a main character type, but don't like you can at me if that's incorrect. I just know a lot of people are probably like, oh man, we get to play a story path game that is high fantasy, that can be high fantasy, that's already out while we're waiting for the world below. I know Matt's Matt. I keep seeing stuff about the world below, and that's getting me on edge because I'm like, I want to play Story Path Ultra now. Anyway, we have information about like the world of Terra Surge. So you have like, oh, here are how quests are made. This is grinding. This is how damage is done. Resurrection, consumable items, and weapons and armor and all that stuff. If you ever watched, there's an extra credit, a program called Extra Credit. Eddie Webb from Onyx Path Publishing has written a few episodes for them, but they have a really good MMO log of like how to run an MMO. So if you need inspiration for making your own story in this, highly suggest checking that out. You have the stuff about guiding it where hope is not lost because fuck the system and fascist 2, give me the guts. And I have gone online and been like, I really appreciate what Onyx Path does about saying fuck the fascists in this book. And I wish more games did that, because it is depressing when you get into dystopian fiction and people think that it's actually utopian fiction. In any case, we have your opponents, Cascade, Terra Surge, enemies and allies. There's even a bestiary, so if you want to have your own high fantasy race, like fights and stuff like that, it'll be crazy. And then we have the setting secrets. Secrets of the Jahat. Shanghai Accords. Secrets of Cascade. Secrets of Synesthesia. The anima character is completely separate from your player character creation. It's like a cross between story path style creation and creation in Exalted Essence. Thank you. Yeah, thank you again, Chandra. That one, I think there is something about like the skills for anima characters are different than the skills for story path characters. So if you go down all the way towards the end, am I at the end? Oh, I broke my PDF viewer. There we go. Yeah, the skills are like arcane, athletics, block, crafting, lore, magic, stealth, physical attack, and persuasion. It even has roles to have multiple anima characters going at once. Rules for having multiple characters. I did see that when I was in the manuscript stuff. I don't want to give you guys manuscript stuff. You're not going to care about manuscript stuff. Oh, I didn't do what I normally do. I usually have the, let me see if I can fix this. Usually what happens is, before I prepare this, I will always make sure that the stream does. I'll have the bookmarks on the left corner of the screen so you guys don't see them. But I did not prepare that this time, so I have to zoom it out. That. It's going to cut off like half the screen, but I can't do much about that. Transition, and we're good. So, where do we start off? We're going to start off with the introduction. It has double genres. Anima is part of both the cyberpunk and lit RPG genres. So cyberpunk is the... Oh, and I'm clapping, so now I'm... Cyberpunk is a science fiction genre set in a dystopian setting that has advanced technology with radical changes to societal order. They're recovering from a devastating war in Anima, and there is a new political organization. There are multiple new political organizations that are rising from the ashes. Lit RPG, on the other hand, is a literary genre that combines science fiction or fantasy with the conventions of role-playing games. These conventions are open and obvious to the characters, so visible RPG stats are a large part of the in-game or in-universe experience, instead of a meta-textual layer. In Anima, the characters make video game avatars and use the mechanics of the video game to then they play to communicate instead of reserving that conversation as out of character. Lit RPG is sometimes confused with another genre, which is called isekai. Isekai is when a character from our world ends up in a science fiction or fantasy world. In Anima, the characters aren't actually going to a new world, they're just playing an immersive video game, but they can log off and return to their normal lives at any time. So something like Sword Art Online is a lit RPG, but something like... God, so many isekais, and I can't even think of one. Anytime someone gets hit by a truck... Anytime someone gets hit by a truck and turns into something like... I think one of them is like... I'm now the villainess or something. Anime villainess. My next life is a villainess. Is one of the isekais, where someone dies and they end up a villainess in a visual novel, I think. So we've got the introduction here, blah blah blah. Truck-kun is from the isekai genre. Yeah, Truck-kun is from isekai. I'm trying to keep myself from gushing too much, but there's just so many things about this book that made me say, go yes, please. Yes, this book is exactly like that. We have... The people of 2084 are recovering from the crash on the heels of humanity's world-devastating war with super-powered monstrosities known as aberrants. 17 years ago, the aberrant known as Backlash seized control of 30 million robots, vehicles, implants, and other electronic devices. He was only stopped by massive EMP weapons, which led to Backlash crashing the entire OpNet information network. Information loss was equivalent to thousands of libraries of Alexandria, and cities all over the world were devastated. In the wake of two massively destructive events, the Federated States of America committed to build a gleaming utopia with bleeding-edge technology and the sharpest minds anywhere. Name Cascade, anyone can move to this brand new city and live up to the live life under the watchful eye of the FSA. Just sign up to be a citizen and have the latest in cyber technology implanted into your head. Popularized by Fulgur Tech CEO Abram Leia. In the last few years, the device has replaced the need for computers, tablets, and cell phones throughout the city. And it allows people to see the world as they want to see it, and in traumatized worlds, many people flock to the idea of having their memories and emotions selectively edited. That's your AR, basically. They don't want you to see the homeless people, so they'll edit it out of your vision. One of the biggest escapes is massively popular MMO known as Terra Surge. What started off as a massively multiplayer fantasy RPG has evolved into a needed social outlet, a sandbox for collaborative creativity. On the surface, Anima is about fighting grandiose battles with your party in a digital world, navigating secret wars with your allies of fortune in the real one. The real fun, of course, begins when the lines between the two begin to blur. It becomes a game about defining what is real. Do the players really identify as their online personas who swashbuckle on virtual seas all night long, or their offline personas who work 50 hours a week from their home office? In the end, could a digital entity's life matter just as much as the biological one? To reflect this interwoven divide, actions in Terra Surge are not conducted using the entire set of the story path rules presented in the core rules. Rather, characters portrayed in Anima themselves make digital avatars to use in the fictional game. The real-world players will use smaller, more concise character sheets reflecting these video game characters. This is very similar if you haven't played the wrestling Trinity Continuum and !WE. NWE is the wrestling supplement for Aberrant, and that has a truncated character sheet as well, but I think it's really done well in this one. No shade to that one, because I do want to play that one at some point. So we have the hope, sacrifice, and unity are the themes that are present in this system. And here I'm going to just go immediately to this fascism and tabletop gaming. Oh, I am... Let me fix my screen again. Yeah, it's... Sorry about that. Like, I can't get a little bit off on the frame. In any case, fascism and tabletop gaming. The setting of Cascade is part of a fascist country known as the Federated States of America. It's written intentionally to show the horrors of fascist classism, bigotry, and colonialism. Let's be clear right now, fascism is an atrocity and horrifying point of view. No one working on this book supports or condones fascism in any way. If someone tries to quote this book out of context to say otherwise, you have our permission to show them this sidebar. I'm someone who loves dystopian fiction, and this can be a problem in those groups. Apologies for getting slightly political in this. Then we have the inspirational media. You have stuff like The Matrix, Watch Dogs, EverQuest, Assassin's Creed, Cyberpunk Bartender, and Mirror's Edge, Act.Sign, Code Lyoko, Black Mirror. They don't mention Sword Art, which, fair enough, that does get a bit crazy. We do have a lot of stuff here about the Aberrant Exodus. These are terms that you might need to know. Basically, when all the Aberrants left in 2067. And then we have the Aberrant War, of course. The Crash, which was the OpNet crash in 2067. Dollar, the standard currency of the FSA. The yuan is used internationally outside the FSA, and although some FSA citizens deal in both currencies. Okay. EU fiber is a Nova-made nanofiber with adaptive and conductive properties. It is used in a great deal of pre-crash technology. I think the OpNet is also built off of it. FSA, we already covered that, is the Federated States of America. Basically, the military and the corporate overlords combined together to create the FSA. And they annexed Mexico and Canada because jerks. Additionally, we have the OpNet. Then we have the Terra Surge terminology, which includes stuff like AoE for area of effect, and anime, beam, boss, buff, all the different MMO terms you haven't thought of since you played World of Warcraft that one time in 2005. We have the timeline going from 2018 when the OpNet was first established, which OpNet is basically future internet where Terra Surge is played on. It's the reason we have like lightning speed internet connections with no lag. We've got the state of the world here. Again, the thing is off. Grr. See if I can fix it. Oh, I didn't transition, that's why. There we go. Bunch of stuff about the Medicare, Earth, Australia, the Five Eyes. Despite intentional tensions and isolationist tendencies, the FSA, Australia, and the United Republic, which is formerly the UK, Ireland, and Scotland, share intelligence information with one another in espionage, as they have for nearly a century. Previously, this group included Canada and New Zealand, while excluding Ireland, but the former's intelligence apparatus have been absorbed by the FSA and Australia, respectively. And the latter joined in the wake of the Irish unification. Okay. The wake of Aberrant War, military intelligence alliance allegiances such as Alert Status 1 fall under the sway of the Five Eyes, repurposed to search for hidden novas among the populace. Oof, that's rough. Secret police. And of course, China is the only area to resist the hunters' jurisdiction, preferring their own home. Oh, okay, because they have their own aberrant hunters. Great. No one's really good in this setting. We've got Nippon, Japan. Second class introduction. Now, this is something that, if I recall correctly, basically in Cascade you have, or in FSA, you have two types of citizens. You have the first class and second class citizens. First class citizens are your don't let perfection be the enemy of good enough. Well said. The first class citizens are essentially the rich ones. They have the government of the FSA. I need to actually like look in here because there is a thing about how it specifically works, but basically the rich people are first class citizens, the poor people are second class citizens. The rich ones get to vote, and I'm not sure if they still kept the whole thing of them being able to vote based off of their paychecks, basically. Or like if you are rich, you get more voting power than someone who is poor. Thank you, Chandra Magic, for confirming that. One of the most dangerous things about fascism, it looks good, and Cascade under the control of the Federated States is no different. They have neo-feudalism. Cascade is a beautiful prison with inmates gladly return to. This self-soothing is proof of their power. Not only works in controlling their populace, but can be a model for other countries. The Yuta and IIL. The Federated States has put an incredible amount of assets and staff hours into generating a fictional narrative around the construction of Cascade. After the crash, the state realized the optics of a burgeoning nation were dire. During this initial 20 years of country's infancy, any rebellion was mercilessly crushed to provide order and safety to the populace. 3 lead generals called Yuta put in charge of this project. Malcolm Pruitt, Magdalene de Glory, and Sarah Cole. They fell into infighting. The paranoia of the trio began pushing through orders. The interrogated Intelligence and Integration Unit, II, determined the government did not have any symbols from which to parry the growing questions of their troubled past. While the majority of the FSA Generals Council believed they had turned a corner on the aberrant threat to the state, the majority of the citizenry were devastatingly beset by mental health struggles and collective trauma. The leadership of the Federated States agreed with the II assessment and turned to history, realizing they needed to colonize the collective perceptions of the masses. This seems like this symbol came in the form of reconstruction, not a simple act of fixing cities, but rebuilding them. Okay, this is the history of the MMO becoming a arm of the state. General Forrest's team connected the addictive attributes of such a style of game to the complacency it provided to users, and a ready-made solution already existed in the illegal game servers being used to breach FSA firewalls. Using funds and resources earmarked for this project, they began to enter secret discussions with Expanse Interactive to bring Terra Surge to the FSA. God. Secret history you don't want to hear. Your MMO was created by the government. Here's the social class stuff. Your character provides context for how story guide characters and other characters may see them. Non-citizens take the brunt force from the government and corporate oppression. Still, they have natural obfuscation within Cascade, able to go into places where only non-citizens are welcome, such as servants' quarters, dive bars, and kitchens. Second-class characters are seen as lazy and unmotivated, but are more populous and make up the majority of the people in Cascade. First-class citizens have access to all the comforts of Cascade and are treated like Ursalt's royalty. I am not familiar with that word. Player characters, first-class citizens, need to have at least 2 or more dots of the wealth edge. Oh, maybe it's FSA citizenship is talked about in Aeon. Okay, so yeah, basically, if I'm right, every $100,000 you have in possession constitutes a single vote. And so you have these multi-million dollar corporations that basically can rock the vote on anything. If you're familiar with stock trading, a lot of companies have things called either ABC type stocks or 1, 2, 3 type stocks, and the A stock, which or whatever is the equivalent of the highest type of stock, actually has voting power, usually over 51%. And then underneath that are stock value. Underneath that, the B and C. B has less voting power, and C doesn't have any voting power. So you can be in a stockholder meeting with C and not be able to do anything. Like, you're just there to make money. Or at least think you are. We have the tour of the city. And then we have the map of the city here. You're not going to be able to see it that well. Just because it's sideways. But oh crap. Definitely print this out if you can. I was just remembering I left something in the printer. We have stuff about Folgertech. We've got stuff about the various different districts. I'm not going to go over them too much because, of course, you need to buy this if you are interested. I hope you are. Bunch of stuff about the characters that are in the city itself. Character creation stuff here. Let's look at the applying the template. characters within Anima are known as talents. So you apply the talent template to your character. You have a moment of inspiration. You have the facets, everything like that. There are also new gifts that you can use. Gifts are only with story guide permission, since many of the gifts within Trinity Continuum core can be overpowered for this setting. If you, after deciding your character's inspiration for a list of gifts, look at the core rulebook. Gifts are only with... Okay. An example is Device Mogul can have major implications for a world where there's such a high level of technology. Okay, that makes sense. Basically, if you have the ability to... well, let me bring up the that book in particular, because I do have the PDFs on me here. You're not going to be able to see this, sadly, but Device Mogul... Device Mogul. Once per scene, when faced with a technological problem, you can declare that your character has the right thing for the job. So basically, your character would have like a digital multi-tool lockpick whenever they needed it, or they had some sort of hacking device. That can be overpowered. So character creation doesn't change much. Edges, we have the Covenant bond for membership in the Aeon Covenant. Once per session, you may choose to have a source of aid occur in the form of a 2-dot ally plus 2 enhancement to a single roll. We have cyberware flexibility, which means that your character has easy access to cybernetics and can swap them out freely. Far-reaching influence in the Aeon Covenant. Hacker skills. Hacker skills is part of being a ghost wolf. Oh, it's kind of cool. You get extra enhancement for cracking hardware and stuff like that. In the zone, I remember this one. Unlike other talents, ghost wolves can use dramatic editing while logged into Terror Surge. This is not hacking in the system in any way. Rather, the talent is unconsciously manipulating the narrators into providing minor changes to the game that provides the best advantage to the gamer using this gift. I did this a lot. I loved it, because I would just be like, oh, I'm going to dramatically edit in a glitch that lets me go bypass this wall or something. Like I did a like Skyrim horse glitching through a wall. Okay, and then we have transit exploits, so that you can hack transport networks and vehicles. And then we have a bunch of cyberware edges, so if you want to have a cybernetic character, these things all look pretty cool. Bionic limbs, bionic ears, communication hub. Man, if I were these guys, I would have like gone through all of the cybernetics in Deus Ex Machina, or not Deus Ex Machina, Deus Ex, like Human Revolution and those types of games. Always love wrist daggers. Always love having a melee weapon hidden inside your body. And then we have these social edges here for being a second-class citizen and being a first-class citizen. Second-class citizens gain 1-dot glass installation edge for free. However, first-class citizens get 2-dot glass installation edge for free. This is something that I am always kind of against in game design, but I'm fine with it for here, because the problem is you're basically getting edges for free, but it looks like actually it might be just you get a slight benefit. So I'm not too much against this. I will be critical of this game. I will not just be saying sweet nothings to this game, even though I probably would. We have the allegiances here. We have the Aeon Covenant. Basically, they were created from the Aeon Society. Blah blah blah. They had influence in the Utopian Project. In recent times, they rebranded as the Aeon Covenant and stepped fully out of the shadows. They are publicly funded, promising research into new science and technology, providing clean water, medical aid, education, and food to those who need it. The Covenant's sterling reputation is a force of good in the world and means even the city regime welcomes them with open, if reluctant, arms. Oh, Margaret Mercer. She was the daughter of Maxwell Mercer, who took control of the company in Aberrant. So she's still around, but she's elderly. Unknown to most members of the Covenant, her grandfather and founder, Max Mercer, remains, due to certain unique abilities, an active part in the organization. He leads Project Pandora, a division dedicated to exploring, developing, and training psychic potential in humans. Ah, man, Maxwell Mercer, don't change. I mean, you can't really, because you know everything about the future, so you know what you're going to do. In any case, that's a pretty good overview, I feel. There is some additional edges that you get as part of being them. Cyberware edges that you can take is Universal Translator, which, God, if I could just... I have a block in learning new languages. I have a very hard time doing it. I wish I could have a Universal Translator just plugged into my head. The Ghost Wolves. 3 years ago, every person in Cascade with a glass interface received the same broadcasted message in French-Canadian accent. Humanity did not win the Aberrant War, only the wealthy did, by driving off the only things capable of resisting their death grip in the reins of power. The wealthy secured total domination of the world. Look at Cascade, a fascist paradise built atop the smoking corpse of democracy. To those of you among the elite, I give you one warning. Use your power to help others, or the power will be ripped from your hands, and we will leave you with less than nothing. We are the children of Les Phantoms and Arsene Lupin. We are the Ghost Wolves, and we have spoken. If you know the Los Phantoms, they are the organization of thieves back in the core days. I just saw Chandra Magic's last message. The first class Citizen Edge costs 2 dots, but it also requires you to have 2 dots in Wealth Edge, so it's kind of big resource strain, which is why I'm fine with the things it gives. It's actually 3 dots, if you go back to where that was. Maybe it changed since you last saw it, but yeah, it's 3 dots, and you need 2 dots of Wealth Edge. So you need to spend 5 of your edge dots, which I think you start. Don't you start with 4? Yeah, you have 4 edge dots, but then I think you get some from your paths, maybe. Yeah, you get 2 with two per path and 4 to spend in whatever. So you should be basically putting 2 dots into your citizenship or your wealth, and then yeah. Thank you for confirming that, Chandra Magic. Optech products. Someone worked as a janitor. Marissa Cassell worked as a janitor of a major tech company. She woke and she became... Oh, she is essentially a... She became a genius overnight and didn't yet possess the vast technical scientific knowledge needed to take advantage of her increased intelligence. Fortunately, she worked in a perfect place to learn what she needed to know. Following the war, she joined Optech Cyber Products and used her Nova-enhanced intelligence to work her way up to the CEO position. However, blah, blah, blah. Today, Optech still represents one of the largest and most powerful tech companies in the world. They've developed they're the number one creator of glass development due to Marissa's extensive inside knowledge of technology and have worked hard to provide cybernetic devices to many people physically scarred by the war. Oh, oh, yeah, that was the thing that I skipped. When so Fulgur Tech was a company that was developing glass initially. However, Marissa found out about the glass, and she basically released it as the product of Optech, even though it wasn't a product of Optech, it was a product of Fulgur Tech. So they ended up leading the future in Optech devices. They have an organizational structure which is very similar to the structure of Paranoia in that it is color coded, and they even have an indigo. They don't have a violet. For shame. So we've got the various different divisions. There is a white division that is unofficial. Hand-selected employees to perform tasks in her name. No, it was it. I thought it was. Oh, I got it backwards. As Marissa wanted to take the company in a new direction, developing her neural implant. She was so paranoid that she didn't even file patents, worried that the information would get out. However, as in the early testing, a corporate spy discovered not only had the blueprints to the device, but Marissa's secret about being a Nova. When Fulgur Tech announced the development of glass, she knew that they had plans stolen. Though Abram Lee Yai never directly contacted her, she knew her secret was in his hands, and you're not paranoid if they're really out to get you. Unable to reveal herself as the true creator of the glass without being revealed as an aberrant, she let the theft slide and moved her company to Cascade so that she could destroy Fulgur Tech from the inside. Okay. I skipped it over. I apologize. Thank you, Chandra Magic, for correcting me. It was a very bad mistake on my part. I am just a beginner in all of this, just like you. Well, a little bit less, but I'm trying to own up to it a little. We have a bunch of new edges, new gifts, new connections, attitudes towards the other organizations. It's always good to have. IX Security. If I'm right, IX Security is probably something. Oh, Branch 9 took a direct funding hit. So are they a division of Branch 9? Thanks to the secrets collected by Branch 9 over the years, the now private intelligence agency staved off the oversight. Heads of Branch 9 worked with their allies in the United Nations to grant organizational special status. When the Aberrant War ended, the Directive discovered itself as an organization without a purpose. They had fully reinvented themselves to monitor and act against Novas and Project Utopia. Without either, the United Nations had no use for the Directive and defunded the group. With few options left, the Directive's leadership remembered the previous divorce from government and reinvented themselves once more as a private company called IX Security, named after the Directive's remaining leader, Karine Ilyanovich, and investor Jonathan Xanthos. IX specializes in providing private security and infestation systems to corporates large and small, or large enough to require their services but too small to employ their own security division. Okay, so they seem like the good guys. Not much information on them. We have Project Proteus. This was the one that was mentioned for Maxwell Mercer being part of. Double checking something. I'm fine. 2010s and Society founded Project Utopia. Following the Aberrant War, what remained of Project Proteus was absorbed into... Oh, in the early days, Project Proteus performed intelligence gathering, information control, and when necessary, targeted blackmail, kidnapping, and assassination. You guys aren't assassins. That's Trinity Continuum assassin. No. You can be an assassin without being an assassin. if this game has taught me anything. Project Proteus's post-war shift involved retooling their division into small mobile strike teams assigned to various geographical areas across the globe. They're under the command of Alexis Gauthier. Secret Department of An Covenant. No one works as one if it's no one who works as one of its operatives lists it on their CV. Most often, Proteus agents work day to day as regular Anake division security guards, but some hold positions as part of their cover. Other positions. They have excellent pay. I'm not seeing anything about the psychic stuff. I thought they were supposed to be psychics. They sometimes get extra field technologies. Okay, we have Transcendent Alliance. Become like unto a god. Following World War II, small progress over other concerns recruited Nazi medical research, set them up in new labs, and funded them. Over the next decade, this Transcendent Alliance grew as it recruited other scientists tired of being stifled by tiresome questions of morality and legality. When the use of data gained from concentration camp experiments came to light in the 1960s and 70s, the alliance moved from the United States to Europe to the USSR and developing nations. The research of the Soviet branch, the Chandra Magic, there are no rules for psionics in Anima, but you could bring Aeon over to Anima and modify it. That's fair. I could see maybe taking the gifts or edges that Mesmerists use from Adventure and bringing them into Anima, because full-fledged scions don't really exist because the Prometheus chamber doesn't exist yet. So it seems like for the entirety of the Nova era, the Transcendent Alliance stayed out of politics or at all. They didn't care about the world's governments did or which faction did the terrible deed. No one paid attention to them. It is unknown exactly how many Novas ended up dissection tables by the Alliance scientists, but they collected more data through the potential to transcend human limitations in the first few years of the Nova era than they did in the decades leading up to it. Fortunately, their experiments in artificially induced Nova status in baseline humans had limited success. They are doggedly committed to researching human potential without limitation or ethical guidelines. Most members now consider Novas to be a fascinating but ultimately impractical evolutionary dead end, and currently trend toward experimenting in advanced cybernetics and use of direct neural interfaces. Okay. They're basically the scientists who went too far. This is interesting. There are only 3 senior members, and rumor has it they are the same 3 who recruited and hid away those Nazi scientists back in the 1940s. They never appear in person, but instead communicate via network conferencing. Other members wear decorative masks when meeting in person or via video conference. Once upon a time, these masks were worn to conceal identities, but today they just wear them out of tradition. Of course, a masquerade. Masquerade, painted faces on parade. Anyway, they have unlimited funds at their disposal and spend it on their research. Mad scientists, but they say that they're not mad scientists. Okay, we're getting to 55. I'm sorry, I'm just really into this, so I guess I've gone a little bit too into it. In any case, we have all the stuff here about glass and chrome, state of the art, implantation of the glass. coming online. Common uses. So we have the premium use of the app economy, city servers, augmented reality. See all these like ads just popping up in front of this guy. Historical reenactment servers. That's something I want to do if I ever get a chance to write these things. So I really like. I want to make some story path nexus stuff that are basically like these are the games that are used in Trinity Continuum Anima, so you can have like your own Anima character that is specifically geared towards historical reenactment, or maybe something like something that's more like spy inspired. I've tried to rate that multiple times and just couldn't get it to work. Mind over matter, vintage glass. Okay, I've got to read that later when I'm not on the clock. And here's the world of Synestia. Parasurge. Okay, we've got the Cherovians, who are aquatic people that look like uplifted fish, octopus, and other sea-dwelling creatures. Humans, who look like humans. Kumderi, which are bestial desert dwellers that are covered in short fur and resistant to poison, and also excellent storytellers. The Quell, my people, the people I like anyway, they are insectoid people, subterranean dwellers who control non-sapient creatures. The Quell are my favorite because I played Dark Sun back in the day for a game that I shall not name, and they had the Thrycreen Mantis Men. They were a pretty cool race. The Quell are able to even summon lesser versions of themselves if they still kept that in and have them fight. I tried summoning a bunch of them and I got one. Then we've got the Sentients, who are have ghost-like abilities. They appear as possessed or sentient dolls, mannequins, and other strange things. And then we have the Veer, which are bird people. I'm not going to go into too much detail about them, but I probably will go into a lot more detail next episode because I will be going into their creation, probably. There's a Quell talking with an elf person. This is one of the octopus people. As you can see, there's a bunch of tentacles. Bunch of the classes. We do. Oh, there we go. The desert people look like bears. And then we've got the Cherovians, who are looking a little bit like those types of creatures, under the sea creatures. And then we got the Veer, who are sort of like bird people, the Sentients, who look like dolls, and then the Quell, which look like insects. And those are the 6 races. The Jahat are new antagonists of the second expansion that got released. Now that players were able to explore the sea for the first time, they could see with their own eyes the Shield Gate. They were crude amalgamations of rock and vaguely humanoid shapes. It's crazy. Oh, and this is the map of the MMO. And it was 9 o'clock now. That was my alarm to tell me that I should probably sign off soon. I want to go deeper. Ready Player One. We've got the Anima stuff, building an Anima. I'm going to go over that next week. Oh, God. Beautiful level up. I love the artwork in these books, gotta say. Some crazy stuff there. Bears. Powers, buffs, debuffs. I'm ready. I'm ready. Logging in. That cactus, this right here, total killer cactuses are a thing, and I love it. I'm here for it. Art is such an expensive thing, but man, I would love to see more art of Air Surge. Items, equipment. Is that someone getting? Oh no, they're not getting staked. They're just being threatened. Oh, wait a minute. Are we playing Pugmire? Is this just Pugmire? It's adult Pugmire. And then we've got the storytelling section, which has a lot of literary RPG tropes. I know it could be Chandra magic, but literally they are pugs. We have rock people. That rock person must be a Jahat. Raids, game over. What happens when you die? Opponents and allies. Definitely an assassin. We've got thug, spy, streamer, optech security, mercenary, security guard, hacktivists, cyber mechanic, driver, business person, and assassin. Ooh, assassin. I I want to bring assassin into every Trinity Continuum book. Just want to do a crossover. Is that too much to ask? Bunch of different NPC types. Then we have, excuse me, the corrupted characters. A game assassin. A game assassin can cause a person's anima to be unavailable for a brief time, effectively causing a person's character to die and return to face the consequences in the real world. Keep in mind that this timing depends on how the story guide chooses to deal with death. Oh, their ability to cause a game's anima to get flagged as a cheater when they kill the avatar. This flagging means that they are immediately booted. Yeah, it is beautiful that we can bring assassins into any game. It's just the difference is the societies are probably a lot different across the board. Because back in Aether times, the worshipful company of killers led the assassin societies. In any case. We have a lot of cool monsters in here. Art is just so expensive to do. You have no idea. I've tried to look into when I wrote a storyteller's vault product. I did ask friends how much art would cost, and it was more money than I would ever make on them. Oh, and we have setting secrets, which is me telling you that there is a lot of stuff about things. We shall find out what this creature is trying to control this person's brain if you buy the book. It sounds like Chandra Magic has already purchased it, which is awesome. As far as the game goes, please let me know if you're checking it out. I really hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. I'm really excited about this. Honestly, it pains me that not many people are playing Anima, or at least I haven't heard many things about people playing Anima yet, but it is just such a interesting setting. I'd love it to run a game for people at some point. Maybe I'll do one of the you bought it. Chandra Magic bought it within hours of it being released. I maybe I'll try and run it for a one of the Onyx Path game nights at the end of the month. Going down the list of things I'm supposed to talk about that Travis tells me to talk about. There are a few end of year sales at the Studio 2 Publishing and Indie Press Revolution. So I'm gonna throw those links into the chat. And then, of course, we have at the end of the month, we do have the Onyx Path stuff going on. We have the Onyx Path game weekend on the 29th. If you want to check that out, there is crowdfunding of the Abyssals. There are only. Oh no, that's old. That's done. Did I have? I guess I might not have gotten the latest email about all the different stuff. Um, we have crowdfunding of the Abyssals is done now. They've definitely made their money back on that. Um, there is, man, maybe I accidentally hit something. In any case, I think that's it for things that have been promoted. Supposedly, there's something coming out on Wednesday. I think someone pointed it out in the Onyx Path Discord, so you can join the Discord. Um, that thing was related to Scion, I believe, but I'm not too sure. In any case, I'll be back next week around, not next week, I'll be around in 2 weeks to talk about character creation of Animas, and we'll go into more about the world of Terra. I want to say Terra Surge, and is it Terra Surge? It is. It is. Terra Nova. I feel bad if I get it wrong. Terra Surge. It is Terra Surge. There's another thing called Terra Nova, and I mix it up sometimes. In any case, thank you so much for watching. I am the Awkward GM. You can find me at the Awkward GM. I just did a video on Trinity Continuum Core. Please watch that if you're interested in Trinity Continuum at all. I really enjoy the setting because I don't really like fantasy games, and Trinity Continuum is a perfect modern day game system that is set in the modern day, obviously, and uses the similar dice system to games like Chronicles of Darkness and Exalted, which I both like and enjoy as well. Thank you so much. Have a good one. I'm going to not say goodbye like 5 million times because that is something that my family does. In any case, thank you. Bye. No, I said it again.